Welcome, everybody, to the best comic book review show you have ever seen in your entire life, and it is the best one that has ever been created, and that is apparently being filmed at the same time as a couple other ones, but we are the better one, so thank you for being here, also known as Comic Story Weekly. Today it is myself and Andy. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm fantastic, Dan. How are you?
I am doing quite well. We
That is
are
good.
both back from New York City Comic Con this
Yes.
weekend. Since it looks like there were more comics than I actually remembered there being, we'll just quick.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Of the 8 pages, we only had comics purchased on the first, I think it was 3.
I think so.
Yeah. So
Actually, no, there was only 4 pages. I think.
when I looked it up, it had 8.
I might be on the wrong date.
It's possible.
I don't think
Let's
so.
find out.
We will find out partway through. So how was your experience at New York Comic Con?
There's a lot of people there.
Because I think this is your first New
First
York
New York
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, yes.
So what'd you think?
There was a lot of people.
Yes.
I did see some cool stuff. I got some. I mean, it is just another con.
Right.
You know, half of it is a giant flea market. I mean, realistically, you know, they had a lot of cool like statues and stuff, though. So I thought that was cool. I got some signatures, which was nice.
There you go.
Talked to Jim Zub.
Cool guy.
He's
Super
a cool
cool guy.
Really like him. Yeah, I mean, I had a good time. It was just there was a lot of people, and my feet were very tired by the end of it.
I will definitely agree with you there. I think one of my favorite parts this year was the number of people that showed up for the signing.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
The meet and greet and the signing, and then the occasional walking around the floor and people going, wait a second.
Yeah, I
you
had
guys from Comic Store or Tales of
3
Earth?
people actually recognize me, which was really weird. And I think my
It's
favorite,
more than me.
My favorite quote was, I think it was the one guy was like,
Yes.
when Andy showed up, I was like, who is this asshole? And I said, it's an excellent question.
Yep, that has become the
It's my
meme. It's just,
existential question.
who is this asshole?
Who is this asshole?
Apologies for
But nobody ever asks, how is this asshole?
All right, well, let's just jump right on in. First comic of the week was the Absolute Carnage Immortal Hulk #1 tie-in. This is based right after Absolute Carnage #3 in the main series.
Yes.
When I
Spoiler
believe,
alert.
Yeah, big spoilers. If you haven't watched this show before, we do spoil, hence the spoiler alert.
Quick explanation. Venom Hulk.
So exactly at the end of it, we learned, or from Absolute Carnage 3, we learned the Hulk had never had the symbiote, and as we all expected, he got the symbiote at the end.
Yeah.
This entire comic takes place within the, I believe, split second of him getting the
Supposed to be,
symbiote.
yes.
Like they say it, they're like, it doesn't matter how long it's taking in here because the issue is about what's going on inside of his head. And how the different personalities talk to each other, whether or not they're going to accept the Venom symbiote as another being inside the collective, so to speak.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. The art was very different.
From both Absolute Carnage and Immortal Hulk.
Yes, which made sense why it was a tie-in and not a Immortal Hulk that was a tie-in.
Right, yes. I half liked the issue,
Okay.
I will say, because I liked the part where they're actually inside his head and, you know, you see the different personalities interacting with each other. Other than that, though, the other half of the issue was really just a giant recap issue of what is going on in Immortal Hulk and what is going on in Absolute Carnage. Mm-hmm. So realistically, the panels where Bruce is talking to his other personalities or telling the symbiote what, you know, kind of the story of what's going on, how they got to this point is quite interesting. But then the other half is just recaps. It's like, this is what's happening in Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
This is what has been happening in Absolute Carnage.
Right.
By the way, Venom Hulk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a bad issue. I wouldn't say it's like super needed.
It's not super needed. I do like these Absolute Carnage tie-ins because they show. I feel like they show a good amount of the psychology and inner workings of what happens when people are either controlled by the Venom symbiote, the Carnage symbiote in the case of the Miles Morales tie-in, and stuff like that. I do want to also let people know that are watching this, the reason why we don't have the TV with covers is because it does not consistently work. And until we can get the Google Chromecast to make sure that's the case, we're just going to go through. So unfortunately, you got to deal with it. So yeah, that's Absolute Carnage, Immortal. It's really hard to point.
Yeah, I was trying to point over.
I wouldn't say it's a 100% necessary. If you're reading the Absolute Carnage tie-ins and you have not been reading Immortal Hulk, I think this is definitely needed.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't been reading Immortal Hulk, you probably have no idea about like Joe Fixit, Grey Hulk, Devil Hulk, because they came from so long ago.
I will say though, we don't know how much you need to know of that for the Absolute Carnage, because when Absolute Carnage number 3, it's just Bruce Banner.
While true, I feel like that's actually the reason they made this issue, was to show that they do have a purpose, because it is an argument of, do we accept the Venom symbiote?
Sure,
and if I remember right, not everyone's on the same page.
No, they weren't. Yeah,
and I think that's going to be a very key part later on, where one of them might rebel against the other ones, or
I can
have
see that.
a personal conflict. Where if you're not reading Immortal Hulk, you're going to be like, I thought it was just Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Right.
Like, who's
what
Devil?
If each
who's
personality got their own symbiote?
Okay, that would be cool.
Right.
That would be sweet. The personalities get ripped apart.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe. Theories.
Be awesome. All right, so that was Absolute Carnage, Immortal Hulk, number 1.
Numero uno.
Next up, Batman number 80.
All right. Everybody knows my feeling about Tom King's Batman run. This issue actually wasn't bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about it
At least
then.
we're finally getting to somewhere. I still don't like the setup. I still think the whole idea of, for whatever reason, Batman's Rogues Galleries being now the cops of Bane's Gotham is really dumb. The issue itself isn't bad. It's Batman showing back up and taking out.
Finally doing
his
Batman
rogue.
things.
Yeah, he's finally doing Batman stuff.
All right. Does he get to... So did he find out about Damian?
Yes, he's fully aware of Damian. They said so. Basically, Batman shows up. Him and Catwoman. They start taking out some of the rogues, and then I forget who he's talking to, but he says that it's towards the end of the issue. He's like, "By this point, they know I'm here. He will call my father.
Mm-hmm.
My father will go to Damian, and then we'll see what happens." And the issue ends with Thomas standing in front of Damian with his gun.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I mean, of all of the useless spin your wheels issues, what are we up to now?
80. So there's 5 left.
80 issue arc has been. This one wasn't bad. It didn't change my mind about the 80 issues as a whole,
right?
But it wasn't a bad one-off issue.
But it's finally kind of
at
gotten
least
you
it's
back
doing
to the point
something.
that you are okay reading.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, like I said, I still don't like the setup or anything like that. But the actual issue itself wasn't bad, and it's always fun to see Batman just like, because the villains are like, oh, we can take out Batman. It's whatever, and they really can't.
No, they never can.
They never can.
They're like, we can do it this time,
and they can't.
No.
So
no, you cannot.
No. So like I said, this actually as an individual issue was not a bad issue.
All right. Well, that was something I wasn't expecting you to say for quite a while. Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 6 came out this week.
Yep,
I don't believe either of us read this. It is being written by James Tynion. So if you are interested in those, clearly they're good since they're on
number 3,
third series of this.
Also, the animated movie of this is quite good.
What's it? Is it on DC Universe?
I believe so.
I kind of want to watch that.
Or Amazon Prime. It's one of the two.
Either way, I've got it.
Yeah.
I will definitely watch that, because I have seen these. I'm like, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just like a fun little, crossover movie kind of thing.
Right. All right, next up is Black Cat number 5. This is continuing Black Cat working with the Black Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, she was stealing from the Fantastic Four, and someone broke out of Negative Zone.
Yeah,
say.
Negative Zone. No. Negative Zone's DC.
Yeah.
It's the other thing that's very similar to
Negative Space.
Something. Yeah.
Void.
Marvel's version of Negative Zone.
Yeah. The one that's in the Fantastic Four base, or whatever it's called, Baxter Building. Thank you. Actually, it's Fourth Yancey
Negative
Street.
Zone, because Phantom Zone is DC
yes,
Comics.
I think it is Negative Zone.
There's too many zones.
There's too many zones that are not part of our main zone.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was So far with this Black Cat, it's been following a very, very repetitive formula.
Yeah.
They have their team.
Yeah.
They talk about what's going on. She goes to start to steal from someone. Something goes awry. They solve it. She learns that she needs to trust her team and like the people that she's with. They go to find somewhere else.
Yeah.
Fight. This one, though, we learned that apparently it may be the Silver Fox or Black Fox, can't remember which. The guy who is essentially the mentor of Felicia Hardy.
Yeah.
He apparently has a history with Odessa Drake, who is the leader of the Thieves Guild, which we learned about in that Spider-Man issue, the Thieves Guild.
Yes. Yeah.
So it does finally seem like an overarching plot is actually coming up instead of just, hey, we're stealing stuff from heroes that are popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of lost interest in the series, honestly. I read this one, and it didn't make me want to.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it didn't really make. I didn't particularly care for the interior art.
I hate the font. I still am
that's
standing
right.
by
This
that.
is one of the ones you hit. Yeah.
Well, because it
looks.
it
weird.
doesn't
Yeah.
fit the characters.
I don't know. Like, it just didn't really grab me. Like, to me, this is very similar to the Catwoman series.
Oh, it is the Catwoman
But
series.
I found the Catwoman series more entertaining.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So far, this series has not been kind of what I was hoping it would be. But it did come out. If you have been reading it, it's worth keep reading if you've been reading it.
If you've been
and
enjoying it. Yeah.
If you haven't been enjoying it, this one's not going to make you go, man, I'm now enjoying it a bunch. Next up, Champions number 10. This is, so apparently I must have missed number 9 because this one is the conclusion to the entirety of the Champions arc, where they were fighting against Blackheart, who had essentially turned the Champions against each other, working on the, you lied to us, therefore my hate is taking control, but I've accepted my anger, and like, it was the classic stuff that you get when it comes to a villain is manipulating your feelings.
Yeah.
You're against each other. I know what you're saying is controlled by this, but I know there's a kernel of truth. Like, it's just a very normal one. I feel like it would have had a lot more impact for me if I had read the last issue. I actually didn't realize I hadn't read it until I was partway through. Like, I felt like
we were sitting in the airport and you told me, like, I'm really confused about what's going on in Champions.
Because I missed like the entirety of like a big ramp up. But this one does continue my confusion on Mephisto. Because on a later one, when we get to Ghost Rider, Mephisto has been bumped off of the throne by Johnny Blaze.
And yet he keeps showing up.
Keeps showing up in a lot of these different comics, because he even shows up in this one. And so it's very interesting to see kind of what's going to happen with that. But I mean, if you have been reading it, you have been following it, read this one. Grab it, read it, because it is, I believe it is the finale of this run of the Champions right now. So, I mean, you might as well finish it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been reading it.
Next up, I want to let you guys know Contagion number 1 of 5 came out this week. I actually only saw this as I was going through. We did not buy it.
I was going to say,
it is by Marvel, and I don't actually even understand what it is. A new evil beyond understanding comes to the Marvel Universe. A seemingly unstoppable force has invaded Marvel Universe, and it's going to take every hero the streets of New York has to stop it, which is pretty much every hero. A strange substance is taking over heroes and citizens alike, draining them of their life force, stealing their knowledge and abilities, and neither science nor magic can stop it. Where did it come from? Can anything destroy it? And who else will fall to its awful, overwhelming power? So it does seem like this is most likely out of continuity, since it doesn't have anything to do with Carnage or anything like that. But it looks like it's got good art. It's written by Ed Brisson, who's pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, pick it up. We did not read it, however. Another one we did not read, but I want to let you guys know about, is Daredevil number 12. That did come out this week, written by Chip Zdarsky. Next up, a huge one that I'm very excited to talk about, Deceased number 5.
This series is so good.
This is amazing. If you do not want spoilers for this, I feel like we're going to say some pretty big spoilers because of how exciting this was to read that I cannot
You should
control
mute
myself.
us. I will give you the thumbs up when it's good.
Or he'll forget and we'll
Or
get
I'll
3
forget.
comics later.
Yeah, and then I'll give a thumbs up. I'll try really hard, though.
So in this one, I thought it was crazy. So we have the different like sanctuaries.
Yes.
We have Themyscira, the
There's
Fortress
a lot of
of
setup in this
Solitude,
for, I assume, the ending
tie-ins
It's
and
like a
stuff
time
like-
jump. It's kind of a
Yes.
time jump for this, yeah.
Yeah. I did like seeing Damien in his batsuit.
Yeah. Well, I think Poison Ivy's reaction was my favorite, where she's like, who's the, or maybe it was Harley Quinn, where she's like, who's the thin bat boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or why is Robin in the batsuit or something like
something
that?
like that, yeah.
It was really good. I like it because it really threw me off when they're like, yeah, so Wonder Woman, Superman, and someone else literally pushed Earth from underneath the water to increase the size of Themyscira for more refugees and stuff like that. But
Makes sense to me.
so the biggest thing in this was a bunch of superheroes
Get infected.
so they are all at
Oh,
the Fortress of
yes.
Solitude,
Yes, sorry.
and then a certain hero shows up and starts infecting superheroes, and
Yep.
the one that everyone did not want to get infected, the Flash, to which
Super fast zombie.
super fast zombie. He's infecting everyone throughout the planet.
Yeah, he's just like
And-
wandering around, finding survivors, infecting them.
And then Superman has to deal with it. And the best line is when they're like, he's not going to catch up. He's going to find him and meet him head on. And
Yeah.
it's like, we finally learned what happens when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. And it's Superman literally ripping through Flash's body.
Flying straight through him. So how many more issues do they have in this series?
I honestly don't know because this doesn't even say that there is a
doesn't
limit.
say.
I'm wondering if it did well enough that they were like,
Maybe they're gonna keep
let's
going
just
with
keep
it?
going. Because I mean, let's be honest, Tom Taylor,
Yeah.
he is a absolute genius when it comes to really changing things
Yes.
and does not have to care about anything.
Well,
else.
exactly, which is when we originally were talking about the series, it was going to be out of canon, which was great, because like this really sets up like what they're trying to do to save the planet, and then it all goes to shit.
Yeah.
I still think my favorite moment though wasn't one of the cool deaths or anything like that. It was Lex Luthor showing up.
Yes. I was going to
And
mention
they're
this.
talking about, this is more heavy spoilers, they're talking about they have to leave the planet. There's no other way around it. They have to leave the planet. And I think it was Superman's like, we're not abandoning Earth, and Lex goes, listen, I am the smartest man on the planet. Wait, is Batman still alive?
Yeah, they're like,
And
no,
I think
he's dead.
Cyborg's like, no, he's dead. He's like, I am the smartest man on the planet. Yeah, it's this. If you haven't been reading this series, pick it up from the beginning. It is
Yeah.
so good. If you like, even if you're not super into zombie stuff, it's just a really fun story.
Yeah.
A fun story where everybody dies. But
It's super good.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not
good.
going to say much more because even though what we just said may seem like huge
it
spoilers,
wasn't even the biggest
honestly
twist of the whole
reading
thing.
this,
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
We did not ruin it for you. Trust me. This is hands down a must pick.
Yes.
So people in chat, do not spoil this for other people.
Okay, for those now with us muted, thumbs up. All right, you can unmute us.
I appreciate you remembering.
Yeah,
as
I
I'm
totally
sure do they.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is Deathstroke number 48.
I did not read this one.
So this one is continuing. Deathstroke is back.
Why does he look like
Darth Vader a little bit.
a little bit like Darth Vader and a little bit like Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe movie?
So this was a confusing thing with this issue because there are multiple pages where it partially seems like there are two Slade Wilsons.
Okay.
Because look at this. So if you
Looks like it
if you
very
can
much
go
could be
to
Slade Wilson,
Comixology, you
Go
can.
fast.
It's on one of the preview pages. But in one of them, he looks like the one that we've seen in the previous issues, stuff
Yes.
like that. But when you see pictures of him at the Legion of Doom, he looks incredibly different.
He
a
looks
lot
far older, yeah.
a lot more scars and stuff like that. In this issue, the Legion of Doom does find out that Slade is alive again. And it is
Shocking.
actually
It's
confirmed
almost as if
that
someone called that.
well, so they explain how and why he did die, but
Okay.
how he came back.
Okay.
So he specifically states when Red Arrow shot him through the brain, he died.
Okay.
His body was not able to heal fast enough for an arrow through the brain
Sure, I
to
get
prevent
that.
killing him.
Yeah.
But Talon, I believe, from like the Nightwing, Agent Grayson,
the Court of
that stuff.
Owls.
Yep.
Yeah.
He apparently has leprosy. And this was a really weird thing. I guess he infected Deathstroke with leprosy, which his immune system kicked into extreme overdrive, and that somehow restarted his regeneration.
Wait.
No, you
Okay.
heard me correctly.
Okay, so let me. I'm gonna play out the series of events real
Yes.
quick in my mind. He gets shot through the brain
Yes.
by Red Arrow.
Yes.
Okay, that kills him. He's dead.
Specifically,
his
they
healing
have said
factor
he died.
could not heal him quick enough
Correct.
to heal an arrow through the brain, which I got. That makes sense.
Yes.
So Talon from the Court of Owls
Yes.
infected him with leprosy.
Or maybe it was Raptor,
Okay, Raptor
but one of the two. Yes.
infected him with leprosy, and the combination of a skin-eating, deteriorating disease and an arrow through the brain jump-starts his healing factor to heal from both.
Somehow.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure
it-
we're all on the same page.
I may have like missed a portion that made it make a little
he
bit
probably
more
stubbed
sense.
his toe.
Right.
Yeah, that the extra thing added in.
But yeah, so it was really weird, but it was just such a strange issue because of the fact that I couldn't really tell like which Slade was the real Slade,
Right,
like
yeah.
because they did look so different. But the point of this was to essentially go, Slade is back. The Legion of Doom cannot take the gifts that Luther has given out.
Sure, already,
without-
yeah.
Like once it's given, they can't take it back. So Deathstroke has to take it from Jericho, because he even goes to them. He's like, "No, that's mine. Give it to me."
Yeah,
and they're like, well, "We can't do."
I don't know
crap.
what to do for him, man.
But I mean, it's
He's gifted.
it's just
We can't backsies.
exactly no give backsies. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's if you've been reading it, maybe pick it up personally. Well, personally, if I
reading
had a
it.
limit on how much I could spend per
Yeah,
week,
yeah.
this would be the last book that I do read, or one of the lower
Yeah,
lists
sure.
that I would not buy each week, personally. So,
Fair enough.
but it did come out. Deathstroke number 48. Next up, because I know you have been reading, I don't know if you read this one. Die
course.
number 8 came out.
It was quite good.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So in
Next up.
we're in the second arc of Die, and they're basically focusing on like the individual, because the first arc was the group as a whole. They get transported back to the Jumanji-ish world,
Right.
and what happens to them. So now we're in the second arc, and they're kind of going more into like in depth with each character.
Okay.
This one was focusing on the Grief Knight, which is a variation of like a paladin from D&D.
Okay.
Who's all based upon emotions. I mean, it's fantastic. It's still, I love this story. I love the art. If you've been reading it, read it, or keep reading it. If you haven't been reading it, try to grab the first graphic novel or whatever, because it's fantastic.
All right.
If you're not into like sword and sorcery stories, you're not going to enjoy it. If you're looking for like
Yeah.
a superhero book, this isn't the book for you. But
Yes, it is under the genres of fantasy, supernatural, and occult.
yeah,
So there you go.
but yeah, fantastic. Another good issue. Yeah.
Next up, Doctor Strange number 20 came out. Neither of us read this. Funny enough, Gary did read this. This was one of his first that he read, and he said to me afterwards, I probably should have started at number 1 because I liked this, but I had no idea what was going on.
Why would you randomly read Doctor Strange number 20? Fair enough. All right, I like it.
Actually, I'm going to read the description to make it even funnier.
Okay.
An event so epic shakes Doctor Strange to the core and makes him completely reevaluate his life and role. This event is so huge that it makes this the last issue of Doctor Strange.
An excellent starting point, Gary. I like it.
So, yeah, I guess he gets to now do a Benjamin Button style. He'll just read 1918.
You should just read them backwards.
Be great. All right, so another one, Fantastic Four number 15 came out. None of us are reading this in the office. Future Foundation number 3 came out. I did read this.
I know you read the first couple issues.
Yeah,
so.
I have been giving this one my 3-issue tester. So this one goes into one of the characters on the Future Foundation, Ricky Barnes, I believe her name is. Essentially, it's a female version of Bucky Barnes, and this goes through like all the different interpretations of her lives.
Okay.
She has apparently lived many, many lives, and I think it's all related to Franklin Richards and when he creates new universes.
Okay.
She somehow gets revived, and she's like, and then I die, and then the universe ended, and then it's like there was a terrible monster and a miraculous boy, and so it just continuously goes around of she's fighting with Captain America, then that universe ends, and she dies, then a new one starts, and she fights with Captain America here or like this.
Yeah.
So it just kind of shows one of those a reincarnating character in universes that Franklin Richards is creating. And so it's going through a bunch of stuff about her. I believe she's going to be a lot more important as it goes on, because the overarching plot around this was they're still trying to break out of the prison with the Maker and a bunch of these other people. And I mean, it was okay. If you like the Future Foundation, it's worth picking up. If you aren't really the biggest fan of Fantastic Four, Future Foundation, any of that, you're not. This isn't going to change your mind.
Fair enough.
However, I will say, if you've ever been kind of curious about the different creations of universes through Franklin Richards and stuff like that, I did think that it was a cool, unique perspective of seeing this different character, because she keeps the memories of all the previous lives that she's had.
Almost like Moira in House of X.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was a very unique kind of almost philosophical kind of thing of, well, what happens to these universes when they do die, and what fills up a new universe when it's created, like that kind of thing. It was a very unique thing to look at. And her name is Rebecca Ricky Barnes. So, I mean, it was okay. If you like it, check it out. If not, don't. All right, next up is another big one, Ghost Rider number 1. This one is written by Ed Brisson. This is going into the entirety of Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider, as the King of Hell.
Yep.
I like
and
this.
the other Ghost Riders. It's not just
yes,
Johnny Blaze.
so it's going in all of them. This one seemed to focus a lot on Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch.
Yep.
And this is showing kind of a pseudo what's happening to Johnny.
Yes.
With him being the King of Hell.
Because in all of the appearances he's had leading up to Ghost Rider number 1, which it was like the road to Ghost Rider, and they had like you should check out these back issues or whatever. He still seems like Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
You know, kind of he's still trying to deal with being a Ghost Rider, but now he's always trying to deal with being the King of Hell and things like that. He pops out of hell because people have escaped, or demons have escaped from hell, and he's got to hunt them down, which is a pretty standard Ghost Rider type plot. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. I think Jason Aaron did the same thing in his run.
I think so.
Where it's like, you've got to collect a certain number of demon bounties, blah 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 blah, almost like a video game. So he pops out and he's talking to Danny, and he's like, it'd be, if you could help me, that'd be great. We can get. And Danny's like, no, I'm done with Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I'm sick and tired of this. I'm got my bar where I drink and pick fights with people, and that's fine with me. But then we also learned that maybe being King of Hell is kind of corrupting Johnny to the point where even he's not aware of it.
Yeah, it's implying that the evil that comes along with being the King of Hell is corrupting his soul, so to speak.
To the point where even he doesn't know about it, though.
Yeah, and
like, he
everyone
still
else
seems like he's like a good guy. He's Ghost Rider. He's hunting down demons. But apparently he's more evil, or he's more corrupted than even he realizes.
Yeah. Not too much else happens.
No,
it's
I mean,
very
it's a
set
setup.
up.
It's a setup
Yeah.
issue because it is number one. I thought it was a very good setup issue. And
Oh,
I'm
yes.
going to read
I
the
really liked
series, or at least for right now. So yeah, I thought it was good. The art's fun.
I do want to just quickly point out, if you do read this, check out on the very first page on the bottom left, there is a demon that has a bird's head,
I don't think I noticed that.
a human body shooting guns, and 4 like grasshopper legs.
I will say the demon designs are a lot
They're
of fun.
great,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do really good demon designs in these books.
I really like them. But yeah, so if you are curious or interested in Ghost Rider, The King of Hell, all of
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, yeah, I think it's very worth reading.
Yeah, it's a good first issue.
Very good. All right. And next up, Harley Quinn, number 66. Neither of us are reading this.
Well, I've been reading these
Or-
sporadically. This is
Okay, so you read this one?
Yeah, I did read this
Okay.
one. This was the ending to her Trials arc,
Okay.
where she was.
Oh, yeah, the grand
yeah.
finale of the Trials of Harley Quinn.
Between the Lords of Chaos and the Lords of Order, and she becomes kind of their angel. I think they call it the Angel of Retribution or something like that.
Okay.
And then
yep, Angel of
she tries to trick it so she can kill the Lords of Order and Lords of Chaos, but they're like the Lords of basically existence, and you can't kill them. And like I mean, it was an okay issue. Some of these Harley Quinn issues I really much enjoy, and others I don't. This one was okay. She was kind of like come to terms with the fact that like she did all these trials, and she thought they like killed her mother, and she had to deal with that. And they're like, no, your mother was gonna die. Like, we just used what was already happening to add to your trials.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like one of those things where she basically hardly came to terms with, like, things happen. And that sort of thing. So it had a couple of nice moments. And then at the very end, she decides that too much has gone on. She has to get away from Coney Island and her little Harley Quinn squad thing.
Right.
And she's like, luckily, I got all my comic books. And then it does the fourth wall break where now she's like, it goes to the comic book and she's sitting in the comic book with Booster Gold, and they're kind of like talking about what happened with them in Heroes in Crisis.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh no, my crossover alert is happening, and the Year of the Villain is happening.
Okay.
And she's like, we got to do something about this, and like that's how it ends. It's really weird.
So it seems like this, from the sound of it, it sounds like this was them going, she is a part of Year of the Villain.
Yes, so we need
Let's
to,
kind
like,
of stop this.
yeah.
Let's get her back into the real stuff.
I mean, like I said, this Harley Quinn series isn't bad by any stretch. Sam Humphries writes it. I think it's really good. For some of the books I really liked, and some of them I didn't. So, but if you've been enjoying it, it's not a bad little end to the trials arc.
So it sounds like, I mean, we'll find out next issue, but it sounds like the next one will probably be the first good jumping on point in a while.
Yes, definitely, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
If you haven't been reading it, this is issue 66.
Right.
Don't be like a Gary.
This is not a good
and
jumping
started
on
at issue 20. All right.
Not at the
Wait till
grand
next
finale.
one. Yes.
All right. So next up, one that I think both of us are really excited to talk about, House of X, number 6 of 6. I was saying to you, I'm surprised this wasn't one of the red labels,
Yes,
the important ones.
Yeah, important ones.
Because the entirety of this is
It's really just a giant council meeting.
It is. It does do a repeat of what happened in the very first issue.
Yes.
So it does the Xavier sends the message across the planet. Everyone hears what he's saying. We are a nation. We'll give you the drugs, but we're selling it to you. This isn't a gift anymore. You screwed yourself on that.
And also, this isn't a request.
Exactly. It's not a request. This is what's happening.
If you accept it, then we will make your lives better. If you don't accept it, we will still do what we want to do, and your lives will be infinitely worse.
It's the hop on or get out of the way.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
So, but it was really good. And then we finally get a council of the different leaders who are going to essentially be like the Senate.
Yeah. I think they call it the Silent Council.
Something like that.
Something like that.
And they come up with the first initial rules or the laws
The first 3 laws of Krakoa,
which I believe are
mutant-kind.
mutants cannot kill humans.
Yes,
because of
that
the
was
fact
their
that
big
they
thing.
cannot come back.
Yes, that was their big thing.
I believe. Crap. I wish I could remember what the other
It
two
was
were.
make more mutants,
Yes, make more mutants.
kill no humans, and
I want to say respect Krakoa as an actual being and not a property.
yes, I believe
Something
that was
along
it. Yeah,
those
something along
lines.
those lines. Yeah.
And then I was actually really, really happy about this. And this will be a spoiler. They put Sabretooth in exile, which honestly I'm so happy about because he has become such a pointless character.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the other villains in the X-Men universe at least have different progression. Do this, do that. And Sabretooth, I feel like even when he swapped from being a bad guy to a good guy, has always been the same character.
Well, his swap
very
from being a
boring.
bad guy to a good guy didn't make any sense.
It didn't make
and
sense.
everybody was just like, yeah, we know he's like killed and raped and maimed and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. It's fine now. He's a good guy. Like, there was no like redeeming arc. It
Yeah.
was just like he suddenly became a good guy. I think it was like a mental thing they did with him. Like
I
they
think it wasn't
somebody
it
like made
Axis?
him gave him a conscience or something like
It
that.
was. I think it was the Axis event.
It might have been. I don't even
Because it was
honestly
one of those
remember.
big ones that everyone was like, wait, who stayed good from that event and who
Yeah,
didn't?
yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
well, he did. We think? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't fully know.
So they kind of, and it goes back to the beginning of the series where Sabretooth killed a couple of cops, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And Scott shows up and was like, all right, you guys can have him for now, but we'll be back and talk about this.
Right.
So yeah, they were like, hey, and even Magneto says it. He's like, I gave you very specific instructions. I said, do not kill anybody.
Yes.
And you killed people.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I think my favorite part about that and what actually made this feel like it's going to be different was that we have on this council like Emma Frost, Magneto, we've got Nightcrawler, Jean Grey,
Yes.
Storm, Apocalypse, some guy
He's
named
a-
Paris that none of us could figure out.
I
who it
tried really
was.
hard. I was like, I have no idea.
And Sinister, and they were all on the same page.
yes.
Like even like Jean Grey and Aurora were like, yeah, no, he screwed up. Like we
Yep.
cannot be okay with this anymore. And I thought that was really, really good because of the fact that we don't run into the issue of, God, are we going to have the immorals of anyone can change?
Yeah.
And this was the solidifying no. And I think another part that I actually really liked was, and it was I think it was a purposeful, from Hickman's point of view, display of power of how much more powerful Jean Grey Marvel Girl is than Emma Frost. Because Sabretooth starts talking, and Emma Frost is like silent and it does like the purple. Clearly
Yeah,
she's,
like
using
she's using
her
her power,
psychokinesis or whatever.
But he keeps fighting.
And
it.
he starts like slurring, and then Jean Grey just goes silence, and he just starts drooling, and it
Yeah.
was just like the power difference here. But this did make me really excited for the rest of what's going to be coming out of the X-Men. Because
right after these, because
Yeah.
I mean, House of X and Power of X is really just the setup
it is. It's
for
the
Hickman's run.
It's the laying down the groundwork for the next.
Yeah.
I believe he's expecting like 10 years of X-Men or
I
a
don't
very
actually
long
know, yeah.
period of time that Hickman's going to be running the X-Men. I know it's at least a couple years because he did say that some of these were going to be like a slow burn. So
I
to
know.
speak.
I mean, there's supposed to be like 6 series coming out of just these 2.
Yeah, I'm going to look
So-
those up at the end if I remember.
Okay.
Because I do want us, depending on how long this episode goes, maybe discuss some of the future
Sure,
ones.
yeah.
Depends on, like I said,
But it,
what the
like,
time's
it
looking.
is good. It was a good issue. It is.
Great
I mean,
issue.
essentially, it's just
It is a must
It's
read.
another exposition issue,
Yeah.
but it's a very good issue.
I think
overall.
this one would be a must read if you plan on continuing with the X-Men.
Yes. I would be so confused. I feel if
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
jumped into the new series without this stuff.
I hope they explain this Paris guy. But anyway, he just looked like Sinister, like Mr. Sinister, but yellow.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, so next
Maybe
up
he
is
is really sinister.
Immortal Hulk number 24. So this is a part of the main series.
Yes.
This is before Absolute Carnage, and it concludes the Shadow Base.
I think this is technically supposed to be after Absolute Carnage.
Is it?
Yeah, because I believe Absolute Carnage takes place. It's supposed to take place in that weird Marvel Pocket Time.
Okay.
When they were in that one hotel and Rick was still recovering in the bathtub.
Okay.
So technically speaking, this actually takes place after.
Okay. Thank you actually for
Marvel Pocket Time.
Yeah, because there is stuff in here that seem like they're going to be a big thing later on.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
In fact, there's not too much to say about this issue because it is a concluding one
to the previous issue. It's mostly fighting.
Yeah, it's fighting.
Hulk's skin is sloshing off of his skeleton.
Yeah, it's melting
quite
off.
haunting.
Very hard figuring out what he's saying, but I do like that they are really establishing the Hulk is pretty much intelligent now.
Yes.
Like the combined permission of the different personalities is really benefiting the character, and it's adding a whole new aspect, at least that I've never read. I don't know if it's been in previous older ones, but as someone that jumped on relatively recent, I've been really enjoying it. And then the end, I will not say because it's the after credits, which relates to Galactus.
Oh, yes.
I
was a little confused.
It's very confused. Yeah. And so I'm very curious to see where that's going to go. There's really nothing to say about it, just that there's some crazy stuff in the future for
I'm
Immortal
not sure
Hulk.
where they're going with that. Yes.
Exactly.
So hopefully they'll explain that next issue.
Next up is Justice League number 33. This is part 4 of the Justice Doom War. So this one, I mean, not too much happens really in this one. It is just more fights
in the different time areas, time zones.
Mm-hmm. We get to see what happens when the three brothers merge.
Yes. They form Voltron.
They do. They form Voltron. And so this one, I mean, there really isn't too much to say. It was a great issue.
Yes. Keep going with it if you've been reading it. It's fantastic. Yeah. I love the ending, though, because slight spoilers. Justice League Beyond. Justice League Unlimited.
Justice League Unlimited.
Batman Beyond and the future Justice League show up. It's awesome.
It looks like it's going to really go in a interesting direction, especially because we do know we're going into the year of the villain.
Yes.
So I'm very curious to see kind of what is going to happen, like how they conclude this, because it can go in so many different ways.
Yeah, at this point, I have no idea how we're going to do it. Yeah, so, but it's awesome. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah, great issue. Next up, Legion of Superheroes Millennium number 2 came out. I don't think either of us read this because I don't think you did read it.
I did because I read the first one.
Okay,
so I was
tell
like,
me about
I
it.
got to see where the second one's going. So it's following.
And it is part 2 of 2.
Yes, it is following. So basically, as far as I can understand, this is the setup for the new Legion of Superheroes.
Okay.
It keeps following Rose and Thorn there, and her because she's immortal, which we learned in the first one. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of her going through all of the centuries. Mm-hmm. It's really funny because she ends up talking to Booster Gold when he is a janitor.
Okay.
At the museum.
Oh, before he
becomes Booster Gold.
Okay, I like that.
They don't flat out say it's Booster Gold, but he's like a janitor, and he's like, we could travel through time. We got a time machine right in the next room.
That's great.
And then she walks away, and he's like, I could do it. I could go in the past and be a superhero.
That would be sweet.
Yeah. But it kind of just keeps going through time and how the Earth keeps going in the circle of building up and then destroying itself and then building up and then destroying itself.
Right.
Yada, yada, yada. And at the very end, she does end up finally talking to it's supposed to be the inaugural day of the Legion of Superheroes.
Okay.
And they're like, can we help you? And she's like, I have a lot to tell you. And that's where it ends.
Okay.
So it's pretty much, I don't know what she's going to be doing in the main series that Bendis is writing, but that's basically, as far as I can understand, the 2 issues are just set up for Legion
inspiring
of Superheroes.
Booster Gold to time travel.
Yep. So I mean, it wasn't a bad issue. This, the 2 are kind of interesting to see the various different futures of DC Comics, and it's a lot of the ones that you randomly see in one shots or Elseworlds or things like that. So I mean, it wasn't bad.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're interested in Legion of Superheroes from Bendis that's coming up, I would say check it out.
All right. Yeah. Sweet. There you go. Next up, Lois Lane number 4. I did not read this one.
Fell off. I couldn't do it. I started flipping through it, and I was like, I have no interest in reading.
Yeah, this seems like one that's very focused towards a specific audience.
Yeah. Which I generally like Greg Rucka, who is the writer, but I just couldn't do it. Yeah. I mean, that was it. I didn't mean to have you bring it back up on the screen. Sorry.
All right. Next up, Old Man Quill number 10 of 12 did come out.
Yep,
this is just standard old man comics.
That's a funny way to say that.
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah,
of them
there
at this
are a
point.
lot at this
Logan,
point. Yeah,
Hawkeye,
yeah.
Logan,
Harley.
Logan.
Old lady Harley.
Yep, old lady Harley even crosses.
Yeah,
brands.
crosses brands at this point.
Next up, Savage Avengers number 6. I actually was not aware that this was like truly continuing.
Yeah, apparently. I thought it was supposed to be the miniseries.
Me too.
I saw this one, though. It's got a great cover.
Did you read it?
I did. It's got a great cover with by Daniel Finch, I believe.
David Finch, yeah.
David Finch. I always say Daniel, and I know that's not right. He was at the con, too. And I was like, oh, Daniel Finch. And it's got a sign. I still said it wrong. No, it's cool because you and me were talking about this. The beginning of Savage Avengers I thought was a lot of fun. And then it kind of devolved, and I didn't really like it. And then the art was shit or not good. Sorry. I'll censor myself better. So that series ended, and half of the Savage Avengers wandered off to do different things, while Conan and Punisher decided they were going to trek through the Savage Lands together.
Yep,
because Frank didn't want his family teleported back. He wanted to carry them back to New York.
Yes.
So he goes trekking off through the Savage Lands. Conan the Barbarian follows him. This is basically what happens to them in the Savage Lands. It was actually a fun issue.
Yeah.
So I feel like the setup for, and hopefully it doesn't continue. It's like the setups are a lot of fun. Like
right.
when Conan met Wolverine and used them as like a giant battering ram. A lot of fun. And this one, like, Frank starts using swords. Conan picks up an M60. Yeah. Like, it's fun. And then it ends, and kind of Frank goes back to New York, and Conan is now loose in the modern world as a barbarian.
Yeah.
So
the thing I found weird about this personally was it's titled The Savage Avengers.
Yes.
And each issue they're losing people.
Right.
So it's just becoming like a Conan the Barbarian story.
In the modern day.
Essentially it's Conan and the Savage Avengers.
With.
And then we get a villain that appears at the end. I won't say who, but one that I was not
expecting at all.
Yeah.
Because I could see like a modern Conan story being a lot of fun. I wouldn't want it in place of normal Conan the Barbarian stories. But it could be a lot of fun. Like he ends up in like Madripoor. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah. So I'm willing to... and the art in this issue was a lot better than the previous arc. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to at least give this more of a try. Yeah. Yeah,
the artist is Kim Jacinto.
Yeah, whereas the previous one was the Didido? Something.
I'm checking real quick.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him, honestly, personally.
Mike Deodato Jr.
Yeah, I'm not personally a fan. If they could get David Finch to do the interiors, this book would be awesome. Yeah, so I mean, this was a fun little, like, if you didn't read the previous one, it's not a bad, if you like Conan the Barbarian, to pick it up and see him pick up an M60. Hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was good. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'll continue reading it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they really need. I need more. It's fun like one-off things, but like the previous one just kind of devolved, and the story ended up being kind of crappy.
Yeah.
So it's like I want the whole thing to be good. I don't need like I used the Wolverine as a club.
Right.
Awesome.
It's nothing but like small gimmicks of wow, Crum's using this, Conan's using this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so next up, Runaways number 25 did come out this week. Neither of us are reading this one. Spider-Verse number 1 of 6 came out this week. I don't think either of us are reading this. You did.
So I'm trying to figure out what this book is.
Yeah. I thought it was just like the movie or something, so I ignored it.
Too. So no, it's not. It's very much a continuation of like the Spider-Verse.
Oh God. Hold on.
Yes.
Continuation or him like
No. It's a continuation. So was it Spider-Apocalypse?
Spider-Geddon.
Spider-Geddon. Thank you. Spider-Apocalypse.
That'll be the next one.
That'll be the next one. Yeah. Spider-Geddon. Norman Osborn destroys the Web of Destiny. Right? We knew that, and then disappeared into the multiverse. He showed back up with Spirit Spider-Man. Blah 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 blah. So this one, Miles is fighting some lame Marvel villain called 8-Ball. He's got a 8-ball for a head. And he suddenly starts hearing a voice from Spider-Zero.
Okay.
Who needs his help to fix the Web of Destiny.
Okay.
So then Spider-Zero snags him with some metaphysical, multiversal, cosmic webbing.
Okay.
And starts yanking him through the multiverse. So he keeps ending up in different Spider-Verses.
Okay.
He runs into Spider-Punk, that sort of thing. At the end of the issue, you find who the character is, who's now her name I can't remember. Spider-Zero.
Okay.
And she says that they, need to fix the Web of Destiny. There's something wrong with it.
Do they explain why Miles is the one they grab?
So that's what he says. He goes, why didn't you get the real Spider-Man? He's like, I mean, Peter. Why didn't you get Peter? Mm-hmm. And she's like, because they're the old heroes. We're the new heroes. She's like, you, me. I think it's Spiderling became the Weaver.
Yeah, I was going to say, because either Spiderling or Spinneret, one of the two.
One of them. She's gone missing.
Daughter.
That's the thing.
Okay.
She has gone missing, and there's something wrong with the new Web of Destiny.
Called?
I think it was Spiderling.
The Weaver?
The Weaver, yeah. And she's like, I can't fix the
or
web
the pattern maker.
Something.
Something.
It's a lot of weird Spider-Man stuff. But she's like, I can't fix the web without her. We need to find her. That's the thing. So the rest of the book is like him jumping through the different
I'm just surprised.
Multiverses. The art style changed with each multiverse. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad issue.
Right.
I don't know exactly what the point will be yet, but I mean, it was okay.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised they grabbed Miles and not Ghost Spider, because of the fact that at the end, the whole point with Ghost Spider was she's the only one that can still travel through the dimensions.
He keeps asking that. He's like, I thought we couldn't travel anymore.
Okay.
But she's using whatever.
So it sounds like they're answering these questions.
Exactly. They're using whatever metaphysical, multiversal, cosmic webbing tether thing she's got to pull him.
Okay.
Yeah, because he even runs into Spider-Punk, and he's like, what are you doing here? I thought we couldn't travel anymore. And he's like, I don't know. This one person keeps yanking me. And then they fight somebody, and then he's like, gotta go later. And he gets yanked.
Okay.
So
maybe I'll give it a shot.
I mean, it wasn't bad, especially if you enjoyed Spider-Geddon and the original Spider-Verse story. It's more to do with that whole.
Right.
There's 8 million things behind the scenes of the Marvel universe. There's the House of Ideas and the Web of Destiny and
it's too much.
It's sort of like what's hidden underneath the Hall of Justice. Yeah. Everyone's got something hidden under the Hall
Batman's
of Justice.
got 6.
Yeah. So it's funny to me.
But
it wasn't bad. It was
my problem with things like this is the fact that they named it Spider-Verse. I think that was incredibly stupid, because I looked at it and my thought was either, okay, this is a reprint,
or something to do with the movie.
This is something to do with the movie. You can't reuse a name and expect people to go, this is a new series, especially when it's Spider-Man and you're currently doing all these other ones like Symbiote Spider-Man when it was a retelling of an old story.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was a very ignorant way to do it.
I just kind of clicked on it. Honestly, I was like,
I would have gone with Across the Spider-Verse.
Something, yeah.
And then they go into Beatles musical numbers. Jesus. Next up. All right. So next up, Superman Up in the Sky #4 came out.
I have not been reading
Neither
this.
of us have been reading this one. Yep. Swordmaster #4 also came out.
Yep.
Still not reading this one. This is the Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu anime style.
The manga.
Or manga style, sorry, The Green Lantern #12 also came out. I don't think either of us are reading this because Grant Morrison is going crazy with the Green Lantern right now.
I actually never even jumped on this series just because everybody was like,
I read
really
the first issue and I was
yeah.
like, Benny, you can keep going.
Yeah.
The Punisher #16 came out. I don't believe either of us have been reading The Punisher.
No,
either.
yeah, I didn't. I tried reading the new series when it first started, and I just couldn't get into it for some reason. So generally, I like The Punisher, but yeah.
And then last, Young Justice #9. So this one is continuing. They arrived in this one planet. Oh, this was something I did like about this. They explained the origin of Teen Lantern.
Okay.
She's not a Green Lantern.
Okay.
So it goes through. She's from Bolivia. She sees what they think is a Green Lantern get killed.
Okay.
And she goes back and you don't fully get the full conversation between her and the alien because it's dying and it doesn't say everything. But she takes his equipment, and it's very similar to, I believe it's Krona's Gauntlet.
Okay.
And it's implied that it's stealing Green Lantern energy.
But it's not an actual
It's not
lantern.
an actual lantern.
I see.
So they're referring to it as a hack. That's why they're like, she hacked a Green Lantern, so to speak.
Okay.
But it's clearly going to be a big point because the universe that they are currently in, she's fighting against a character named Hack, who has the device, and so they're trying to get it for reasons. But this is just not too much happens. It's just continuing on the fact that they're trying to get back to their main universe.
Right.
They're still in I believe, the universe of the Crime Syndicate after they have left.
Yeah,
so
it's like
the Young Justice Syndicate
version of it. Yeah.
the Young Crime Syndicate.
Because that would happen.
They totally would.
Just new teenage criminals show.
Sons of guns. Their baggy pants get on my lawn. But yeah, that brings us to the end. I'm going to do a quick search. Upcoming Hickman X-Men titles. I want to see if I can if I can't find them, we'll do it a little bit later. I just want to find. Okay,
the banner
so
we saw that we were trying to really remember what it was. Remember we saw it at Comic-Con.
Oh yeah,
and we were like, wait, which banner is this? Is this one of the new books or is this an old book?
So the upcoming ones are going to be Excalibur. It does. I'm not actually seeing it say who's on it. New Captain Britain forge away with her companions Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, Richter, and Apocalypse? ? Exclamation mark? Question mark? There's that one coming up for some reason. Power Rangers
Pink.
Fallen Angels #1 looks like it's got Psylocke, X-23, and Young Cable.
Yes.
Interesting. I will actually probably read that. Art looks pretty sweet. We are going to be getting the Marauders.
Right. I remember that where it was like Kitty Pryde as a
one's-
pirate for some reason, which I was totally down with.
Captain Kate Pryde.
Yep.
Funded by Emma Frost and the Hellfire Trading Company. The Marauders Storm, Pyro, Bishop, and Iceman. So it's a pirate story about them. We're going to get the New Mutants, which looks like it's got Sunspot, Wolfsbane, Mirage, Karma, Magic, and Cypher. We've got the new X-Force coming up, which is Beast, Jean Grey, and Sage, with Wolverine, Kid Omega, and Domino. It looks like there's 2 separate X-Force teams. That one looks like it'll be kind of cool. And then we're gonna have the standard X-Men #1.
X-Men, yeah.
Honestly, all of these look really cool because they've gotten. Each comic has at least one that I'm very, very excited to read about.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
X-23.
I'll be honest, probably the two that really are. I want to read them because I think they're going to be a lot of fun. Like, obviously, we'll be reading like X-Men and Uncanny X-Men just to stay up with the series. But the two I'm like personally looking forward to are probably the Marauders, just because Kitty Pryde is a pirate.
Yeah, that looks sweet.
Yeah, it just looks like it'll be a lot of fun.
I am surprised though that Nightcrawler's not on there since he's kind of got like
right? He's kind of like a pirate. Yeah.
He was an angel pirate.
That's right. And I always liked Excalibur. I always like Excalibur, the team series. So I will be those will be the ones I'm personally looking forward to. But
right. Yeah, I'm excited for that. The Fallen Angels actually looks kind of cool.
It could be cool, yeah.
I like the art on the cover at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest, cover art
doesn't
means
always. Yeah, it doesn't always mean. And the Power Rangers Pink is apparently part of the
for some reason.
X-Men.
But anyway, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Comic Story Weekly. We thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We do film this live every Monday after our Conspiracy Cast at 2 p.m. Eastern on the twitch.tv/comicstorian channel, where you can support us there for a $5 or Twitch Prime sub. Helps us out a lot. And you can also support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian, where for $2 you get access to this podcast, many other podcasts, a lot of early access content, a lot of great stuff. If you're interested in talking to people, discussing these comics when they come out, check out our Discord. The link will be down below, or it's pretty easy to find on pretty much anywhere that we do this. Yeah. If you want to find more of Andy, you can find him on Instagram at 4IamTheAndy. If you want to find more of me, you can find me at DanTProducer on Twitter and Instagram, and DanTStreamer on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.
Bye.